Hi everyone. Oh, we're perfectly on time. That works out well. Yet again, I've got Zsolt, the CEO of YawVR, with me to give an update on the status of now the Yaw3. So I'm going to hand over straight away. I don't have a lot of pre-planned questions. So if you'd like to put any questions in the chat, go ahead and I'll do my best to ask them when the time is right. So please, Zsolt, tell us how things are going.
Thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to talk again, and hi everyone. We have a few good news, let's say, because we have started the production of Yaw3 basically today, today morning, because yesterday we finished the last changes on the design. As you guys may know that in April we finished the final, let's say the final prototype, and show it to the audience in Sun and Fun Expo, Florida. We did their let's say stress test with more than 150 visitors who tried the simulator, and basically it worked quite well. So we were very satisfied with the result, because there was just 3-4 small minor issues, mostly for electronics, like the one connector was not perfect, and one grounding problem happened, that if we touch something, then the simulator worked well, but if we didn't touch it, then the simulator stopped. It was scary at the beginning, but we should just grounding the that electronics perfectly, and then it was fine. And we have another issue with the power supply, which was working great in Hungary with 220 volts, but in the US with 110 volts. It wasn't perfect. It was also a little bit strange, because we couldn't start it in the morning time. We working with that a lot to start it, but after it started, it was working all the time without any issue. But around the end of the show, we just replaced it on an old power supply, and you use that one, because that worked perfectly all the time. So basically that was the three issue with the device, and nothing else happened. Even the mechanical structure was quite reliable. At the beginning, we were a little bit cautious, so we used low power and try to select people from the visitors. But at the end, we didn't select anyone. Anybody could try it. Over 330 labs. I don't know. So it was more than 135 kilograms. People who tried, and even he makes some very fast rotations and stuff like that. So it was a real stress test, and from mechanical point of view, it worked very well. So that was in April, but after we came back from the show, we just made some let's say extreme stress test, and there some mechanical weaknesses came up, and we wanted to fix those mechanical related issues, and we finished it basically yesterday. That means it not means that we finished the drawings and we start to produce, but we produced 3 or 4 more prototypes with the changes, and tested and stuffs like that. And yesterday we finished just small minor changes, and that's why we can start the production today. Of course, in low scale. So we will produce hopefully today one device. I will see. I don't know, without paintings. We do a final test, and if everything works well, then next week start the real production, and we start to send out the devices. There are three, not prototype, but let's say early production units, what we will send out today or on Monday, because those are basically completely the same as the production device. There are just really few minor changes which are not significant changes, but just helps to assembly more easy, or so these are not significant changes. So we can send it out to Kickstarter backers who are ready to test these devices. We will provide them these devices with I don't know how can I say, so with the opportunity that if something wrong with those devices, we will definitely replace it in the future. So they will be somewhere close to Hungary, maybe in Germany or Austria or Switzerland or something, and maybe later we will replace their device if there is some issues with the early one.
So this is the end user testing that was mentioned in earlier conversations.
Yes, exactly,
that we had.
Because internally, of course, we tested, but our experience that if we test it completely, we send it out. Our customers are very how can I say, creative, hard to prove that our device is not perfect yet, and that's why it's very useful for us to send it out, check it if they can put it together, use it without any issue, and if so, then we will be sure that our device is ready to ship.
How long are you planning? So you're going to send out, I think you said about 3 units. How long will you have those people testing before you start to ship more out, or will you progressively ship some out every week and get a bit more information?
So our plan is to not wait. So we don't wait the production because we are quite sure that it's ready for production. So if there will came up something, then we think we will be able to fix it on running production. So we start the production basically today, but the real production from Monday. And we want to wait until 2 weeks, but we will not wait, not just with the production, but we will either not wait with the shipping, because we are planning to ship around 10 early device to our backers who are committing to test it, and they can accept that it's an early device. So we are planning to send it 7 more until the first 3. So the test period will be last about 2 weeks, but during these 2 weeks we will already ship some devices, according to our plans, of course.
And so I'll be transparent. You and I have spoken, and you've said on calls previously that you'll be sending me a unit, and at this point you were planning to wait for that early testing to say everything's okay before you ship one, because I'm in Australia and it's a long way away. So
that's the only issue, that you are in Australia and the shipping cost is quite high. So I'm not sure, so I cannot answer you yet. We want to wait the first 3 feedbacks about the first 3 units. Hopefully we will get some news about that next week, and if those are positive feedbacks, then we are ready to ship more. Of course, it's also depending on the ramp up of the production, because we have to order. We are already ordering the final parts,
Mhm.
because most of the parts are final since let's say a month.
Mhm.
But there were some hanging parts which which wasn't sure that we will include it or not. So these parts should be ordered, and we don't know yet how smoothly will goes this procurement process. So it's depending on that one also, but we do our best to to ship as soon as possible.
Okay. Um, and okay, we've got one question here. Do you know of anyone who's used the Yaw for a real pilot training yet?
Yes, we will share. Not it's already shared. So in
Mhm.
our YouTube video, you can see our latest video from Sun and Fun Expo, and there are some feedbacks from real pilots about the device.
Yep.
And basically, it's a quite positive. Those are quite positive feedbacks. Of course, if there was negative feedbacks, maybe we wouldn't include it into a promotional video.
Yeah.
But honestly, there wasn't any quite negative feedbacks. Of course, there were some
Constructive.
questions and I don't know, how can I say, doubts or something. But
Mm-hmm.
let's say 90% of our visitors has very positive feedbacks about the device. And there are some people who are already using the device for training purposes, but it's not official.
Mm-hmm.
So those are not official trainings, because the device is not, let's say, AIF or IAF, I don't know, approved. The American flight,
FAA.
I don't know.
FAA.
FAA,
Yeah.
FAA,
Yeah.
sorry. So it's not FAA approved, but we are in discussion with a software manufacturer who has an FAA approved software
Mm-hmm.
to collaborate in the future, and and uh, and we have let's say an aviation product which is not completely ready yet, because we are focusing now on Yaw3. But this aviation product will be absolutely capable and perfect for aviation trainings.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in discussion with a kind of Air Force. I cannot name the country yet, but one country is Air Force about a training device to produce and ship to them, and they are definitely want to use it for real trainings.
Yeah. And I guess it's a kind of an announcement that I also have someone who is a registered flight trainer here in Australia who's planning to train me using the Yaw3, where I will learn to fly in the simulator 100% and then eventually fly a real plane. So it will be
Yeah,
testing
I
it.
think it's
I've never been in a plane as a pilot. I've never been in a small aircraft, anything smaller than a 60-seater. So yeah, I'll be learning using Microsoft Flight Sim, the Yaw3, and then flying a Cessna.
Yeah, and we will do our best to send you a Cessna cockpit as well after a while.
That would be
So,
awesome.
so I think it's a very exciting experiment, and it's exciting not just how can I say, not just because it's cool, but from philosophical point of view, it's also exciting, because you will train without really sitting in a real airplane,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it will be very interesting if you will be able to take off and fly. Then I think it's amazing. Will be amazing
Mm.
result.
Yep. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. I had someone offer to teach me to fly when I was a teenager, and I never took him up on the opportunity. And I always, I've always been kicking myself that I never said yes back then. So to have this opportunity now is really amazing.
Maybe you were waiting for this.
Maybe. So we've got a couple of other questions. So we've got Chris is asking, do you know how many units per week you think you'll be able to make when you're at full production yet, or is that still unsure?
No, it's interesting because so of course not the beginning, but after a while, when the production line is perfectly developed, and the procurement is also developed. Honestly, that is the harder part, to buy everything on time and get it, because we buy a part of parts from China. And sometimes
Lead
it
times.
could
Yeah.
be challenging. But now we have a very good partner in China, so maybe it will be much more easy for us. But according to our calculation, our current team can produce around 100 units in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because the device is much more simple as before, as we already was talking about maybe on last video. But at that time it was just an idea,
Mm-hmm.
or we were working on it yet at that time. But now I can say that much easier to produce, because less parts, more simple parts, so that is why we are expecting to be able to produce around 100 units in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is a good reaction, good market reaction on the new device, then we even can easily extend the production capacity to more.
Yeah. So someone else asked, when will it be available? So I think you might have joined after we started the call, but there'll be some units shipping out to people today or early next week for early
Yes.
testing. And then once there's feedback from that, or we're waiting for some feedback for that, but still be shipping some units out as well. Daniel asks, will the footplate support multiple pedal options, i.e. WYNIWYG, VKB, Virpil, Slaw, MFG? So have they been, do they have cutouts that suit lots of different pedals, or you've just got a range of cutouts and people might have to make some holes themselves, or?
No, it's a cutouts for very
Common.
lots of pedals.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's aluminum, so we recommend, if there is no hole on the right place, you can just drift it and mount it on it your actual device,
Yep.
or actual accessory. So it's not a problem if you drill a hole in the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Even it's not touch the warranty or something. So if there is any warranty issue with the device, if you drew a hole on the plate,
It's still on
it's
there.
still
Yeah,
under warranty.
sure. And then Chris asked a follow-up question. Looks like we've got a few Australians here. So for Australian backers, is it more cost effective to ship to a central location and distribute from there? So, I mean, there's nothing fully announced yet, but basically I've spoken to Yaw about potentially being an Australian distributor. So there is a chance of that. I guess it's interesting because I don't want to have people having question my when I review things. I will be honest no matter what. So, but yeah, it's not defined yet, and I don't think it's probably not really a concern. Your Zsolt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like when you're still ramping up production, you wouldn't have enough units to just throw a whole bunch to Australia at the start anyway, I imagine.
Yeah, I cannot really answer about this question yet, but
Mm,
it's a good idea, because in case of US, it doesn't give us a big advantage to put the devices into a container or something
mm,
and ship it on a ship. because the price difference is not quite big, or not enough big, not big enough.
Yeah.
But for Australia, it's I think it's a different case. So it's a good idea. So I will double check it, or I will ask my colleagues to check it. What if we try to ship in a maybe a container, or we not necessarily always buy a container, but a part of the container.
Yeah.
Maybe it will be much cheaper. And regarding the quantity, so yeah, it's the future. As everybody maybe know already, that we need to finance the Kickstarter shippings from our revenues, and the Yaw3 is a good solution for that issue finally, because after a while, so if we sold 23 devices around, then after over these 23 devices, every other device can cover 3 other Kickstarter device to ship out. So that means we have a great chance to deliver lots of Kickstarter devices in the following months, and based on the actual commercial demand, the quantity can go up very high as well. So we will see in the following weeks how big is the demand for Yaw3, and if it's high, then we can deliver lots of Kickstarter devices.
I'm not sure. Are you shipping? Will there be an option to get the Yaw3 with a seat, or are you just shipping them without a seat now?
No. It's so we have seat, and we can ship it with seat, of course.
Okay, so
we maybe it's the question, because there is on the pre-order Yaw3 pre-order page, there is that the seat is not included.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
It's just the clarify. It's because to clarify that the price is not include the seat. Yes, but we deliver seats.
Do you think that at some point you might have different chair options that would have a center cutout for a stick, for instance, or?
Yeah, I maybe I don't understand.
So if someone wants to do like helicopter or something, they want to have the stick, like a central stick between their legs.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. So right now we have a basic seat. We always say that it's not a super high quality seat, but not a very low quality seat. So it's somewhere middle. But we definitely plan. So right now anybody can buy the device without seat, and choose let's say any kind of seat from the market. So even Secret Lab seat can be mounted on the device, and so on. But later on, after we don't how can I say, we don't have as many tasks with Yaw3 as now. We will extend our offerings, not just in case of seeds, because we will be able to offer a higher quality seed. I think lower quality seed doesn't make sense. So a higher quality seed, and maybe a seed for helicopters. And we also will provide or offer on our website the gaming frame, which is I think very important, because lots of gamers don't want to use our let's say design leg rest or something, which is great for lighter accessories, but maybe in case of very heavy accessories, it could be much better. But honestly, we made some improvements on the leg rest as well, not just on the device itself. But we want to provide a gaming frame as well. We will provide an additional counterweight holder, which will extend the length of the device, and you can put the counterweight on the very end.
Yeah.
And much less counterweight will be enough to balance the device if it's necessary. And there will be some other accessories what we are planning to offer.
Okay. So sorry, I'm just trying to multitask. Well, sorry, one point of feedback from myself for those who are asking about chairs. Depending on where you are, adding the cost of shipping for a chair is quite expensive. So I initially bought a racing seat off Facebook Marketplace, and it was price competitive with the cost of shipping the Yaw chair to Australia at least. So don't discount finding something locally, although it is nice to have the chair that matches with the branding and so on. But yeah, so
yeah, that is sorry, just one addition for that. That is why we don't include the seat in general into the product, because the seat is quite big. I mean, the package of the seat is quite big, and because of that, the shipping cost could be much higher than the cost of the seat itself.
Yes,
which is interesting. And another addition that if you buy LED seat, most likely, I cannot guarantee, but most likely the LED seat will be compatible with our LED output. So you don't have to, how can I say,
you are able to buy from somewhere else,
you
and
can
it will still work.
You can use even with LED seats as well, not just static seats.
Okay. So saying everything goes really well with orders, what capacity do you have to ramp up? You did mention that you have a partner in China. Would you potentially think about production of the Yaw3 in China, or what's the?
We are considering that. So to show the whole picture, we have a partner in China who will produce Yaw2.5, Yaw2.5 for the Chinese or let's say the Asian market. And they are focusing on the arcade business mostly, but I think they will provide devices for end users as well. And maybe they will turn the production from Yaw2.5 to Yaw3 soon. Hopefully, I would recommend to them. So hopefully they will do that. And then we will have an opportunity to order the Yaw3 from them. And in that case, honestly, we would have an unlimited capacity because
so you go from like 100 to month.
They
to
are a little bit crazy, or I don't know, how can I say? So
they're very
honestly,
efficient.
Chinese very good in production, and they already calculated that they can easily ramp up the production to 1,000 units per month. So basically, it's an unlimited opportunity for us. Right now, we started production in Hungary, and we are in a serious discussion about the production in China. We don't know yet. So after we get a good price, which is lower than the Hungarian one, or is the same as the Hungarian one, then we maybe immediately will switch to China. But first, we would like to test the market and check the demand for Yaw3, and then we will see.
Okay. All right. So Daniel asks, will there be an option to cable manage VR headsets that rely on a cable? I would expect I don't think there's, I'm going to answer this one for you, Zsolt. I don't think there's any slip rings that have the bandwidth that you require for DisplayPort or anything like that, and they're quite expensive if they do exist. So
yeah, and I don't know if it makes totally sense. So these kind of slip rings has the problem that they are very sensitive, and for mechanical impacts, or let's say something like that. So,
Yep.
so unfortunately, this device cannot be, I don't know, how can I say, 100% perfectly rigid, or I don't know, because it's a, let's say, a relatively small device which have to hold big weights or big loads. Uh, and if you would make a very rigid, I don't know, rigid is a correct
Rigid.
word
Yep.
for,
Yep.
yeah, okay. So if would it be, we would it make it very rigid, then we should use steel to produce the device, then it would be perfectly fine. But of course, the weight would be, the final weight would be possible for shipping and for using. So that's why it's the whole device is from aluminum, and with aluminum there are some small deformations on the surface all the times, and it's normal, so there is no problem with that. But because of that, we cannot really use with high reliability with slip rings. We tried it, even we didn't fix the slip ring on to the device, but after a while they are necessarily have some mechanical impacts, and the connection is not stable enough. So that's why we give up the high bandwidth
USB.
slip rings and use just slip ring for the power, because it's quite reliable, and not for the data streaming. And even there is no USB 3 slip ring on the market yet, or at least on reliable price point. So the USB 3, it's not really exist, or if it exists, it's the price point is astronomical. So that's why we decided that what if we switch to Wi-Fi connection completely, and we use USB, wireless USB, and Wi-Fi streaming, and it works quite well, because Wi-Fi streaming is constantly improving on the software side as well, and on the hardware side as well. So I think this is the future. Meanwhile, the cabling will not necessary. I think it's easier to make a ceiling cable management solution,
That's what
or
I have
using
just there.
yeah,
So
exactly,
the only
exactly.
disadvantage, like this is just reality. So there's a couple of things. DisplayPort is a digital transport. If you get a disconnection, then it has to rebuild the whole signal. So you're going to get more than just a flick.
Okay.
It'll go off, and then it'll be pixelated before the picture comes clear again. So I think that's a problem with like slip rings for DisplayPort. But also, you know, if you're using cabled VR, like I've tried to and wanted to keep using cabled VR for a long time just because of motion compensation. But I am sort of waiting for, and there's a question about this, but you know, you have to sacrifice full 360 if you're going to use a cable, because you will end up killing your cable. If you're doing anything that goes around and around, and you know,
Yeah, but just one comment for that. So 360 is very good. We experienced on Sun and Fun last time, because we demo there with 360. But if you have, let's say, plus minus 170 degree, then it's also provide you a very good experience. But in that case, you can use the cables without sealing cable management. It can be just holding on the ground, and it's still a good experience. So you don't have to decide or choose from one to one, but I would suggest to use wireless setup because it's quite good quality and very comfortable.
Yeah. Daniel, I'll put somewhere. Oh, it's YawVR 2 is the one that I have, and I highly recommend it. I used to have the Kiwi ones, and they have these sticky pads that will tear the plaster off your roof, whereas these have little hooks that push through the plaster. I highly recommend it. So,
and one more addition, just for this topic.
Mm-hmm.
So my other experience that if you use Wi-Fi streaming, then of course there is a slight delay. Maybe that is the reason why people are a little bit afraid of Wi-Fi streaming. But there is an interesting effect. If you are using motion simulator, then the Wi-Fi streaming gives you a little advantage because of course the motion seat is a mechanical structure, so it must have a small, very small delay. But if you have another small delay in the Wi-Fi, then the visual and the motion will be synchronized perfectly. You have to just learn that maybe the reaction time is a little bit longer, but the experience is in sync with the motion and the visual, and it's quite good. So I think Wi-Fi streaming has a small advantage to motion simulators.
Yeah. Gunpilot asks about, in the promo video from Sun and Fun, it looked like the motion compensation wasn't working in one segment. You and I have spoken about this, that you were actively working on it.
It was working. So basically it was working, but in some cases we screwed up the calibration. And at that time there was some times when we have to push the W button on X-Plane 11 lots of time to synchronize the cockpit with the view, but most of the time it was working perfectly, not perfectly, very well. But we already did some modification on YawVR to make the motion compensation perfect. So our goal is to fine tune the motion compensation and make it perfect.
I will be heavily testing that once I get my Yaw3, because motion compensation is something that I absolutely want to work well. I have tried.
I can say it will work well. There is two issues what we have to address. One is basically already solved. The first issue was the calibration, and we just figured out that we have to calibrate we have to push the SteamVR calibration and the headset calibration as well together, and then it will work much better. So that is one thing which is already solved, if I'm not wrong. I have to ask my developers. And the other, which is a little bit more serious, that sometimes we experience some how can I say, glitches or in case of rotations, and that we have to address. So we are still working on it to filter the motion quite well and increase the frequency of the position tracking and stuffs like that. So we are still working on that. But in general, the motion compensation works with YawVR. With YawVR.
So there's a couple of things from that. I already know that you're re-skinning or whatever. The look and feel of Game Engine and Infuse will be being updated, but like, you'll be looking to improve the user experience of those applications as well, which I assume would flow on to simplifying the calibration process.
Exactly. I have a plan to somehow include or insert, or I don't know, so somehow connect the YawVR and Game Engine together, So then so my plan and let's say dream, or I don't know, because of course during, for example, Sun and Fun, we work a lot with the calibration and motion compensation and stuffs like that. That's why we wanted to demo with 360, because it would have been easily to not demonstrate with 360, but we wanted to, because then we know that we have to solve all the motion compensation issues, and we learned a lot from that, and we fixed on time how can I say on immediately on the show some issues. So we already have a step forward on that front, but my idea, or my goal is to make somehow a one button motion compensation and one button setup stuff, where you don't have to calibrate everything separately and then praying to work everything well. So that is the goal. And now, because in case of Infuse, everything is in our hand. So the streaming, the headset position, the motion compensation, and everything is in our hand. We have a very good chance to solve this issue perfectly.
I've long thought that is one of the things that you should be doing, which is just make the whole experience so that's pretty much press a button and it happens.
Let's say plug and play.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm just going to answer one of the later questions before I go back to some earlier ones. So Gun Pilot was asking about motion compensation. So Infuse does the motion compensation, and if you're using Infuse, you don't need to use OXRMC.
Yes.
So
yes, exactly. But unfortunately, Infuse using just Steam VR yet. So you cannot use it with OpenXR, I don't know,
games
directly with games. Yes.
Okay. You will need to resolve that, because I believe Steam is moving towards.
It's a little bit more complicated, because our streaming solution is YawVR, which is right now just works with
OpenVR.
with
OpenVR.
SteamVR.
Yeah.
But hopefully they will develop some solution for OpenXR. OpenXR, I mean directly, without SteamVR, and then it will be a much better solution.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go back to some of the earlier ones. This is a good one. Back in the initial campaign, you had various color designs offered. What's the plan for the V3?
Yeah, we are still thinking about that. So right now, at the beginning, we would like to offer white and black, because the other colors, honestly, not super nice. Maybe the red one is nice, and some people likes the blue, but for example, the orange and the green is not that beautiful.
Green's good for a green room. It disappears. But
yeah.
but I actually suggested to Zsolt that I think they shouldn't offer multiple colors, because when it comes to warranty, it adds logistics issues. But they still plan to have some colors.
I don't know how serious this issue, so how important for our customers to get the right color. So we will ask everyone if black or white is acceptable for them, and if there is some so to make a colored device is not a very, very big deal for us. It's a little bit more complicated than the black and white, but not super complicated. So in some cases, if somebody has a very strong request about that, then we will be able to solve it. But in general, we would like to offer now just white and black, and maybe later we will offer custom coloring, but in that case, that color will not be powder coating, but regular coating, like in case of cars. And but it will be a little bit more expensive than we could include it into the regular price. So I think the coloring will be an additional options, with payment. But in that case, you will be able to choose any kind of color because we use aluminum. So like cars or a part of the cars, so it can be nicely coated. So maybe color options will be available, but we will try to convince our backers and customers to choose black or white.
I mean, I personally think, as I've said, that you should just go with black and then have paid upgrades.
Yeah.
People might not like me for saying that, but I think it's the best logistical choice for Yaw to make, especially when you're trying to ship lots of units initially. I agree that having the ability to pay to get a custom color, like then if people want it, they're paying for it, and so it's not a big issue. One of the other people said,
and honestly,
one of the other people said mine is. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, one of the other people said mine is black, or I can have black or black. Not an issue for me. So he's happy with black. He doesn't care.
Yeah, basically the black is very nice, and maybe Ford, the American auto manufacturer, said that Ford is available in any kind of color if that
as long as you're happy with black. Yeah. That was the original Model T. Yeah. So there's another question. What happened with the results of the form asking about those willing to pay extra for advanced shipping? Is there any what's happening with that? So some people have said they're willing to pay extra to get their Yaw2 originally. So will they get their 3s earlier or?
Yes. So I know that it could be frustrating for our backers, but our main goal now to deliver to everyone, and for that we have to make some steps, but maybe not 100% perfectly fair with the others, but it helps us to reach our main goal and intention to deliver to everyone. So that is why at the beginning we will contact the people who are willing to pay more and send them first, and then we will deliver to everyone else, and it helps us to increase the production faster. Because in that case, so right now it looks like if we start the production, if we count from the beginning, then one device can cover the cost of another Kickstarter device. So one device sold for the customers can cover the device of another Kickstarter backers. If we check this situation from the profit point of view, after let's say 25 device sold to customers and not producing a Kickstarter device, we can cover the whole cost of the company. So from that point, every sold device can cover 3 Kickstarter device. So in case of we start to sell Kickstarter backers who cover who can pay more, then we can produce more devices. So we can produce devices for our let's say regular backers more faster, sooner, and on higher quantity. So that is why we want to provide devices first for the people who can pay a little bit more, because it helps us to make sure to deliver sooner to our backers, to our other backers.
Yeah. And what's happening for people who may have received a 2DOF that ordered a full unit and didn't get rotation previously?
Yeah, it's a good question. We already talked about that. So we might have 2 solutions, but please don't take it as an official offer. We will talk with everyone about that, but maybe we will offer that, because honestly, it doesn't really make sense anymore to produce the Yaw2 rotation platform. We can do that, but I think it would make more trouble, because those are all devices, and we made some further developments on the rotation platform
Just
and so on.
I
So
can give a
if
little bit
somebody,
of
sorry.
sorry, just for a little bit of context there, I had an issue with my rotation platform, and Yaw sent me a new one, and it's physically incompatible because of the changes they have made since the earlier design. So yeah, like
Yeah, so we would like to offer two options for these guys. One is that we pay back the rotation platform price. That is one option. The other option, we give them a voucher for Yaw3 with the amount of money what they paid for the Yaw2, and they can keep the Yaw2 as well. So that would be the benefit for them. That they can buy a Yaw3 with the original. How can I say? With the
so
counting the
yeah.
money what they paid for the
So
Yaw2,
whatever they
and they
paid
can.
already, they get as a discount on a Yaw3, but they get to keep the 2 DOF that they've already got.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. So maybe
doesn't
that
sound
would
horrible to me.
solve this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if somebody strict very much to the old device and they want very much the rotation platform, maybe we will find out something and try to send them out. But that other options would be our main offering, and we would suggest to accept it, because I think that it's much better than
Well, I
send
mean,
out.
unless they have a compatible 2DOF to whatever you're making now, it wouldn't seem like it would make sense to try and go
Yeah,
and make your
we
older
can
designs.
ask
But
some photos about the 2D OF and stuff like that. So it's a little bit complicated, but we can do it. So if somebody will how can I say, want to keep the actual device and get the rotation platform, maybe it will be possible, but we would suggest to accept to get back the money for the rotation platform, or get the discount coupon
yep.
for Yaw3.
Okay. And then the cost of the Yaw3. So at the moment, there's the pre-order on the website, which is $3,990 US. What's the expected price when it's launched? Do you know yet, or?
I think it will be so we keep this price for
Okay.
for a while. We are working to make it cheaper, working on it to make it cheaper, but I think we wouldn't be able to decrease the price until we roll out all the Kickstarter devices.
Mm-hmm.
And then after we rolled out everything, then we can rethink the whole price structure and the, let's say, profit structure. But until that, honestly, we have to optimize our company to make profit to be able to deliver Kickstarter devices.
Yep.
And by the way, of course, sorry, just to make sure, make clear, our company will not make real profit until all the Kickstarter devices are delivered.
Yeah.
So this the profit not means we bring it home and buy cars or
No.
I don't know, houses, but it's every cent goes to marketing or Kickstarter devices, and we spend for marketing because we want to make more sales to deliver more Kickstarter devices.
Yep. Okay, so when people are filling out the pre-order, if you've watched this or any of my other content, feel free to add it in the comment field, I guess. I don't know. So they know that you came via me. I don't know. Will there be a referral system? Like
Not yet,
Not yet.
unfortunately. We want to build up a referral system for influencers and basically for our
Anyone actually.
distributor partners. And yeah, it will be available hopefully soon. But
okay.
Honestly, the whole company is focusing on the Yaw3 launch.
Yeah.
So now we couldn't really focus on the other more important tasks. but maybe from next week, if we can start fluently the production, then we will start to focus on marketing and sales and so on.
I mean, I expect I will have a code at some point, but I will, I would encourage everyone to, wait until you're comfortable to order, even though I know that orders need to come in, but it's kind of a chicken and egg thing to some degree. But
yeah, so we opened up the pre-order on our website, and we would like to recommend to people to sign up because
it's non-binding. So yeah.
Yeah, it should. So the earliest orders will be delivered earlier. So that is why we suggest to sign up on the. It's a non-obligation pre-order, so you don't have to pay anything, and you can cancel it anytime without any payment. So don't worry about that.
Assuming things go well, do you have a projection for when all of the Kickstarter deliveries are likely to be dealt with?
So we have, our let's say in an ideal case, so there will be some people who wants refund. We know that there are people who wants refund. So and there will be some people who pay more. So our expectation that we will be able to produce around 100 120 units at the in this year averagely. And around half of it will goes to Kickstarter backers. So that means we still have around, let's say, 7 months, and if we, it will be around 500 devices this month. Sorry, this year.
Yeah.
And if we do some refunds, then I think it could be realistic that this year most of our Kickstarter backers could get their device this year, and the minority, because there are some people who we cannot reach anymore. It's sad because it's our fault, because the fulfillment of the Kickstarter backer, the pledges was not as planned, as you know. So a part of the backers cannot be reached by us. A part of the backers will get refund, and maybe the rest of the backers will get the device this year or early next year, the latest. And if something happens, I mean, there will be a much higher demand, because we will work with distributors this year as well, not just selling by ourselves. So I can imagine a much more optimistic scenario as well. So in this case, it could be much faster. Maybe we accept. So we are in discussion about investment in China. I'm not super optimistic regarding that, but it's not impossible that it will be happen. So can be happen this one. Can be happen that our affiliate network and distributor network will perform very well, and there will be a huge demand to produce, and it can immediately increase the shipments of for our backers. So that's the plans. I know that we had lots of plans in the past, and it's a new one. I wouldn't say if I wouldn't believe that it's possible. So that is our actual plan, and I hope we can fulfill it finally.
Well, I mean, you've learnt a lot from the Yaw2 that should make the Yaw3 much more bulletproof than the Yaw2 turned out to be.
I really hope. Really hope. In case of Yaw2, we had in a very high time pressure. So that was a very, how can I say, very dangerous situation to our company, and we had to step forward. So that's why was that I would say mistake that Yaw3 wasn't in terms of quality wasn't good enough, and we reacted a little bit maybe late to develop Yaw 2.5, which was quite reliable compared to Yaw 2.0. So I think yes, with Yaw3 we are much more careful and much more experienced.
Yeah.
We have a little time pressure now, but I think we did our homework well. So I think it will be much more smooth, and because of that, I think it will be much more successful, this product, and that gives us the hope that we will deliver to our backers maybe still this year. If everything goes very well, then this year.
Yeah. There was a question about marketing. Are you planning a different marketing push, or are you like? Because I assume most of the stuff that Peter did would be outdated now anyway, because it's different hardware, and like the videos that he made about the Yaw won't be. So, do you have a plan for, I guess, documentation and all of that stuff for end users?
Yes, absolutely. So we are working on the software side as well. We want to make a little bit better the game engine and the controller application. So one of our colleagues is already working on that. And I would like to make a little bit better documentation about the assembly and troubleshooting and stuff like that. So it's on its way, and yeah, so we definitely want to make a much more better with Yaw3 as we did with Yaw 2.5 and Yaw2, and we also want to change a little bit the marketing, because now we can make profit on the device. As I told you, we can involve distributors and influencers into the sales process. We can send marketing devices or PR devices more easily as before. So hopefully it will boost our marketing, and it will boost our sales dramatically.
Do you have an idea
Because
of
the device is very good. So my experience that if somebody try our device, then they are very satisfied, and that is why I'm optimistic.
Yeah. Do you have an idea of when? So, I mean, I'm not thinking of myself as an influencer. I know you're going to send me one, but do you have an idea of when you'll be sending review units out to, I guess, the influencers that have a larger viewership?
Yeah, to influencers, definitely after the 2 weeks over, or 2-3 weeks over, because we cannot make any mistake with influencers, I believe. So that's why we want to make very sure that if we send out a device, it will work perfectly, because we cannot expect from influencers to how can I say, to be very polite with us. So even with you, so we are in a good relationship, but I cannot tell you what you say, and even you
No, I
cannot
wouldn't. No.
you cannot say something which is not true, because
No,
you
I wouldn't.
are risking your reputation. So we know that the internet influencer, I don't know, word is not about to paying them to say something nice about that. It's just to send out the device and praying that everything will work well.
Sorry, I just read one of the comments. So someone asked, did any Kickstarter backers receive something yet? So there is definitely, like, I was a Kickstarter backer and I received a Yaw2 2DOF, and then almost a year later I got the rotation platform, and unfortunately I had some issues with my rotation platform, but at the start of this call, if you go back and watch, the plan is to ship out some Yaw3s to Kickstarter backers today or early next week. So the shipping of
Yeah, but
Yaw3 has started.
to answer the question, we already send out around 200, 300 devices. I don't know
Of the
exactly the
Yaw2/2.5. Okay.
yeah, YA2 and YA2.5.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, there is a huge backlog what we
Yeah.
have to fulfill yet.
Yeah. Someone asked, what did I promise my wife to allow me to paint the room green? I didn't. Originally, the roof wasn't green, but I managed to get that done. Get that part. It's my room, so it's not up to her. Don't tell her though. So
She didn't know yet.
oh, she knows, but she doesn't mind. It's yeah. Okay, so is there any other questions by anyone who's here at the moment? I don't think we've got a lot more to go through, so we might wrap up.
I would like to
Mm,
update a little bit about the technicality. There is some, maybe not some, just one, I don't know, news compared to the what we said in the Sun and Fun videos. So we just decided to replace the roll motor to a 350 watts motor.
mm-hmm.
So now all the three motors will be 350 watts.
Okay.
And there will be some cooling as well in the roll. So that hopefully we didn't have many issues with roll, but it simplifies the production a little bit and make the device a little bit more reliable. So
I
that
mean,
is
it would
a
simplify
new.
logistics again as well, wouldn't it? It makes one part instead of two separate parts. So if anyone has a fault, you
Yeah,
just always
exactly.
send the same thing out. Yeah.
Exactly. And we change the it looks like we changed the connectors as well to make sure, because we had lots of issues with the losing connector, or I don't know how can I say in English. So the connector which just came out from the slot.
Mm-hmm.
And basically those connectors was designed to not going out by themselves, but now we change it for a much more strong connector.
Mm-hmm.
So that will increase the reliability as well, because sometimes our customers was absolutely dissatisfied because the device was not working, but we just went on the site to fix the device. We just put back the connector and it worked very, very well.
Yeah.
Which was very frustrating. So we changed the connectors. And basically the other advantages are the same what we already mentioned, that it's more lightweight, more quiet, a little bit more precise and stuffs like that. So all these stuffs. And this is two new feature what we changed in the design.
Mm-hmm. So just context from me, the issue that I had with my rotation platform did seem to be related to the Molex connector, which was one of those plugs that was found to be, it was one of the things they resolved with the 2.5 update. And luckily I found someone locally who had backed the Kickstarter and had something else in his fail, and then ended up buying a 2.5, and he's very happy with his 2.5. So that's, I have third party sort of backing up of what Zsolt says about the Yaw 2.5 being pretty reliable. I have other people who have it and have told me that it's been good. So I've never had any reason to disbelieve, but I was able to use his original rotation platform and rip out the Molex connector and make my own cable to connect the two halves, and it's been reliable since then. Now I have an issue with the USB hub, which is my fault. But I need the USB hub to get replaced. So, but yeah. So, as Zsolt said, like my take on what's happened, and I have probably been more lenient than some people would have liked in some of my videos. I have a high ability to deal with frustration, so so when I was trying to do things and I couldn't get it to work, rather than I did my best to try and help troubleshoot information and give information to you to help resolve some of these things. I worked with Daniel on game engine and things like that. But I have a hardware development background myself. I have done a Kickstarter myself. We didn't reach our goal, but we did bring the product to market. Unfortunately, the business shut down during COVID because COVID made logistics, we couldn't recover. But I do understand that if you have a product that has an issue, and it may even be like we had like our failure rate on our product was less than 2%, which is less than the failure rate of condoms. And it still put enough sort of, like even that was enough to make us doubt the product and run around trying to do things to resolve the issue that in many cases we may have been better to just refund those few people, but we tried to resolve the issue as much as we could. But anyway, I know manufacturing products is hard. As Elon Musk said, making one is easy, making lots is hard. So, and I feel like you were successful with the Yaw3 Kickstarter, and I think you got maybe more success than you were looking for, which I know from other people who've run Kickstarters can make it very difficult to deliver. And I feel like you pushed it out before maybe you'd done enough testing. I mean, you can't really do the testing that end users end up doing very easily, and you were optimistic, as most of us are. Any entrepreneur has a level of optimism, but I really do feel that you've learned a lot from what's happened with the Yaw2, and you've walked me through the design drawings of the Yaw3 months ago now, and when I saw it, like there were so many things like, oh, that just makes so much sense as a way to simplify things without taking away functionality. So I'm very optimistic for you, and I hope it goes well. So
thank you for all of guys, your trust in us. I know it's less and less, but we really do our best to move forward. And now I see a really great chance that we can just somehow came out from this situation and make a good company and a good product. And a company who just fulfilled what they promised.
Mm-hmm. There is another question that's come through, which actually is one I've meant to ask a little bit about. So will there be attachments to mount all of our peripherals, e.g. joysticks, keyboards, throttle, quadrants, etc.? Do you plan to have lots of mounting options, or are you letting the community build those themselves? Or I plan to make stuff myself, as I did for the Yaw2.
At the beginning, what we can provide is the central holder, the side rails, and the gaming frame. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to go get those, then you can choose the gaming frame, and these contains the aluminum plate with holes. Mm-hmm. And usually these holes are designed for certain accessories, and we are very open. If someone send us hole measurement drawings about their actual device, we can include those holes on the plate. Mm-hmm. Right now we don't plan. I mean, we are very open for any kind of further development, but in our plans are not in our plans that we produce special plates for special accessories. but for us it's very easy. So
Mm.
so if you can get drawings, it's easy to produce. But now we, instead of that, we try to produce universal boards,
Yeah.
and we just suggest to make extra holes on it if it's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And as I told, it not affect on the warranty. So it's absolutely, you should feel yourself to make extra holes on the device. Maybe not on the pitch cover or something, but on the plates,
Mm.
which helps you to mount your own device.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Oh, I did. Sorry, regarding the racing frame or the non footrest version. When
Yeah,
do you expect to be able to show that on a Yaw3 to see what it looks like? Like, if
we
people are looking
already,
to
yeah,
order, will they be able to say, "I want that now," and will you have it ready, or is that still a little bit of development?
basically it's already ready for Yaw 2.5,
Mm-hmm.
but we couldn't officially introduce to the market yet,
Mm-hmm.
because we started to work on Yaw 3, and we didn't have enough time and resource to finish it
Mm-hmm.
perfectly. But it's finished, so it's we don't have to finish it, just to make it ready to produce. So it will be announced very soon, because we don't need to work on it so much. So basically it's ready. And
Okay.
the preparation is also ready on Yaw 3.
Mm.
So the preparation to get the gaming frame.
Yeah. If someone's put in a pre-order prior to shipping, will they be asked what accessories they want? Like, will you only be shipping it with the side and the like footrest central holder and one side rail,
Yes,
or will they be able to order extra
so
bits?
so now the pre-order is a very basic pre-order. So you can just tell us that, okay, I'm want to buy one.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, before we see the shipping date for that specific
Unit.
customer,
Yeah.
then we will contact him to check if he still want to buy, or the, because somebody just how can I say, send the pre-order to us, but they don't have real buying
Info.
willingness or
Yeah.
something.
Mm-hmm.
So we contact everyone before the shipping, and everyone can replace or change the order, and specify what accessories he want to buy. He want chair or not, and stuffs like that. So we definitely will contact everyone before the shipping and
And
clarify the order.
and what about Kickstarter backers if they wanted to get extra accessories? Will they have an opportunity to do that as
Basically, it's the
well?
same.
Or? Okay.
So we treat the Kickstarter backers as a customer. So we
Mm-hmm.
will contact them before the shipping, and we discuss with them the color question, the accessories question, and everything else.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, there is an opportunity to buy more stuff and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is one more question which is not decided yet, that there are Kickstarter backers who ordered the 2DOF device, and right now we have just 3DOF.
Mm-hmm.
We are considering to provide 2DOF as a regular stuff, but it doesn't really make sense anymore,
Mm.
because the structure almost the same. So the
Yeah.
price difference between 2 and 3DOF is not significant. So we are thinking about how could we differentiate the 2DOF and 3DOF backers, because I understand that if somebody paid for 3DOF, and he see that
Someone who paid for
anybody
two.
else
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
3DOF who paid for 2DOF,
Mm.
it's a little bit tricky. So we are thinking and considering what extra we can, if we will not have 2DOF version, then what extra we can provide to our 3DOF backers and arcade backers.
Mm. Yeah. I think. I mean, I've said many times that less SKUs makes life easier from a logistics point of view. So I think I understand that. Like I don't think it makes sense to try and make a 2DOF unit when you're taking parts out of a 3DOF to make a 2DOF. It's kind of doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense to me either. But you could, I don't know. Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying there. It's a difficult one. Chris says, I was a 3DOF backer. Give me all the accessories.
Okay. Yeah, it's by the way, it's an important feedback for us that that, for example, the accessories could provide enough advantage to get satisfied with that.
I mean, from my perspective, I've always been interested in the gaming frame as a. I don't know how that fits from a cost perspective, but I imagine it would be somewhat similar to the cost of a motor. But I don't know. I'm guessing,
so the gaming frame is let's say similar cost as the central holder and the footrest together.
Yeah.
So that's why we can provide it as a replacement.
Oh, sorry.
Or, for
I
example,
was meaning as a like. I mean, not everyone's going to want this anyway, but like as a 3DOF backer, then maybe they could get both. But then I imagine that would make the shipment size bigger as well. So boxes and things. So yeah. Okay. Chris just asked, what is the gaming? So the gaming frame is more of a cage around you than the central foot holder. That would be correct to say, wouldn't it, Zsolt?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's more rigid or rigid. Sorry,
rigid.
I don't know.
Rigid's fine. Yep.
Rigid. So it's more rigid than the regular footrest and central holder. It's also very nice, I think. So according to my opinion, it's a very good solution. It's a little bit flexible, but not that much because we use it with Fanatec heavy wheels, and it's absolutely not disturbing the small flexibility. But the gaming frame is much more rigid, so it's a stationary. I don't know, how can I say? So it's from that perspective, it's much.
It makes it more like
rigid.
a cockpit. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see what the final design ended up like. And Chris has just asked, is there any pictures? So, yeah, it would be good if we could see what that looks like fairly soon, if there's any chance. Even maybe, do you think there'll be so the take I got from you is you've designed it for the Yaw 2.5. So you've technically done all of the research and development phase of it, but I assume you have to make a couple of modifications to make it fit on the Yaw3, which will be minor changes. Would that be fair?
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's the question is just the width, the size, width size of the gaming frame, because all the other measurements is the same. So we didn't change the dimensions. Of course, the rotation platform is much thinner, let's say. But the other dimensions of the simulator is not changed. So that's why our old gaming frame should be compatible with the new device.
Okay. And did you add remember when you were setting up for the Sun and Fun, I mentioned about having holes in the feet so you could screw it into the floor? Has that been added yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
That part is still, let's say, so we finished all the drawings and we start the device, but the design lag is a little bit different because we considering to put there an extra cover top of that, because I'm not 100% satisfied with the design, and the horse will be part of that redesign. So we redesign a little bit to make to be able to put there some. We are planning plastic cover to put there, and the device will be a little bit more cool, looking cooler. So there, then we will put the holes, which is a good idea.
All right, so we've just had someone else join and ask some questions, and this is actually one I know that you still would like to do it, but how is the development for Heave going? I assume it's all on hold while you're getting the 3 out, but what do you have a plan for when you might address Heave again?
Yeah, absolutely. The prototype, a working prototype, is in our office, but we couldn't try it because of the Yaw3 development yet.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, we didn't want to focus on it
Yeah,
because we have to
more
focus
important fish to fry.
100% on Yaw3.
Yeah.
But right after, we will make the first real. We tried it already, so it's moving and it can lift up heavy weight,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't test it with Yaw3 yet or Yaw2 yet at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So after we finish Yaw3, there will be 3 focus points of the company. One is to finish everything on the marketing side and software side. I mean, redesign and stuff like that.
Yep.
The second most important part is the Eve platform, because we see lots of demand on it, and I'm not 100% satisfied the current prototype design. So maybe I will try to simplify it. We are in discussion with Balázs about that. We have a little bit different point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So we are definitely working on it. And the third focus point will be the aviation product. We have to build the Cessna cockpit or finalize the Cessna cockpit, because we have lots of orders from aviation, but we couldn't finish the cockpit yet perfectly. So this is another, and we have to maybe we have to produce another cockpit for another airplane, because we have a potential partner about that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the 3 main focus point: our marketing materials and software environment design, and of course it contains the motion compensation stuff and everything. So the software side and marketing side, the aviation product, and the Heave platform. So this will be the 3 most important tasks for us.
And the cockpit, is the cockpit designed to go on the design legs, or was that its own sort of frame?
It will based on the gaming frame.
Okay.
It's already we already have a Cessna cockpit design, and it worked on. So we mounted on the old gaming frame.
Okay.
What I mentioned, that it is ready. So basically, it's that ready that we already had a few prototypes, and we mounted the cockpit on it. We have to just finish it perfectly.
And Dion also asked about, is there going to be 2 designs for Yaw3 and Yaw2? So I assume that was in relationship to the Heave, but would it be fair to say that you're wrapping up production of Yaw2 altogether, aren't you? Like you're not planning to produce.
Yaw2? Sorry, I didn't get this.
So you're pretty much stopping development of Yaw2 2.5 to just focus on 3.
Honestly, yes. Yeah. So basically, we produced the last 4 Yaw2 for as a how can I say, spare parts or something. So we designed or maybe 8. Sorry, not 4. 8 devices, but we didn't assemble those. It's for replacement parts and stuff like that. And we are absolutely heading to or turned toward Yaw3.
Yeah.
So from that point, we are producing Yaw3 and not Yaw2 anymore.
Would the Heave unit be like, is that going to be designed in such a way that it is specific to the Yaw3, do you think, or would it potentially?
No. Okay. It's because the size of the base is not changed. In case of Yaw2 and Yaw3, I think it's not changed. If I'm not wrong, maybe if it's changed, it's just a few millimeters or something. Okay. Then if we will have a Heave platform, it will be definitely compatible with Yaw2 as well. Okay. Because there was no, originally we designed that on the bottom of the rotation platform was a hole to prepare the Heave platform. But we just decided the Heave platform will be completely independent from Yaw3. Maybe on communication point of view, they will communicate to each other. So maybe it will be like the Yaw3 will be like a master device and the Heave platform a slave device. But the Heave platform will definitely have its own electronics and intelligence. So there won't be any physical connection between the two devices.
So does that mean someone could feasibly use the Heave platform with some other simulator or something else?
Honestly, yes. Yeah. If those simulator has a relatively small footprint, then yes. That's so cool. For example, I don't know, DOF Reality and I don't know, some other competitors has a little bit bigger footprint, so maybe not for those, but yeah, okay. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks as always, Zsolt. Thanks for taking the time to.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk to our customers and partners, and thank you for your endless support. And let's do it again maybe in a month, and hopefully I will have good news.
Good news, yeah. And I'm really looking forward to testing the Yaw3. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, you will get it soon.
Yeah, I think that's the there was, I think, a very big collective sigh of relief when you released the video that showed the Sun and Fun, just to see, because we'd seen, earlier prototypes, but seeing people actually using it at that expo, I think was a very big push of confidence for a lot of people. The discussion after that video came out was really good. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we will send it to you as soon as possible, not just because we need your review and your opinions and suggestions, but because of the amazing pilot training. I'm very, very excited about that. So that is the other reason why we will send it to you as soon as possible.
Cool. All right. Chris is saying ship mine at the same time, so I'm sure he'll ship it as soon as he can. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
See you again soon.
Thank you very much. Right. Goodbye to everyone.